The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Cosplay Alliance, our partners and affiliates. This episode of the Cosplay Alliance podcast may contain coarse language or sensitive subject matters. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Heyo, it is Cosplay Alliance, the podcast, and today we have quite a treat. It is actually a topic that I think actually impacts all of us, and that is actually, hey, is cosplay becoming too commercialized? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to discuss it. We're going to digest it, and I have an amazing panel of cosplayers. I'm going to let I won't do them justice. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, and actually, I'm going to pose a question with your introduction. I'm going to ask, actually, just introduce yourself, how long you've been doing this, and what do you feel has changed between when you started cosplaying and today? We'll go ahead and actually start with Louis, Latin nerd.
Hey guys, Louis here. I am a cosplayer. I've been cosplaying since October 2012 at New York Comic Con. My first cosplay was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, and yeah, I didn't know what cosplay was in the beginning. My little brother is an OG cosplayer before me, so he got me into cosplay. So, but see everybody else in their cosplays it was amazing. So yeah, that's history. So been cosplay for forever.
Yeah. What do you think has changed between when you started and now? What do you think is the biggest change that you've noticed?
I guess how the community is. It's like the community has changed from how I started to what it is now. I think now it's just more like everybody trying to outshine themselves, and which is it doesn't feel like it's as a community as it used to be when I started it. As acceptance, and it wasn't about like I never seen like everybody was into photo shoots or anything. They just wear the cosplays in the conventions, and that was it. And then until like there are certain cosplayers who they kind of like uplift to each other, and then they became that's what happened. So that's how it changed.
All right. All right. I hear that. All right. William J., what you got, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hopefully you guys can hear me good. It's a new setup. Yeah, I've been cosplaying kind of like Lou. I think I started around 2012, just going to local science fiction conventions here in Maryland. I had just moved up here from Puerto Rico, and we didn't have conventions out in Puerto Rico. At least they weren't really like a thing. I'd seen them on TV, and they were like this thing that was bubbling up on that thing we called YouTube and the internet after 9 o'clock when you were able to like log in. So I moved up here and I started going to these conventions, and uh, you know, I started. My gateway was cosplaying Star Trek uniforms and that kind of stuff. And honestly, like the thing I think Louis pretty much nailed what I was going to talk about. There's a lot more like pressure. I think like I think people still do it for fun, but it feels like it's it becomes way too competitive. Even when you're being fun, there's still like a level of competitiveness that, in small amounts is good, but it feels like you don't just do it to just go out like at the bar at the end of the night at the convention and just say we're all going to like dress from like Naruto and go eat ramen or something. Like no, there's got to be
Yeah.
like you got to make a post about it on Instagram. You got to get the likes and all that stuff. And if you want to hustle, that's fine. But I think something is lost when you put that mindset in it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And then we have the lovely Loki. Loki, tell us a little bit about you.
So I've been cosplaying since I want to say 2014. I've definitely noticed a shift in the amount of people that go to conventions, the size of the conventions. Because the first one I went to, it was Toronto Comic Con, but it was really tiny compared to what it is now. So it's definitely grown, and there's definitely a lot more people who are interested in it. But I've also, like everyone else, noticed that it's very much now become about clout and who's got the bigger numbers and who's got the better costume.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Gussie J, what you got to say?
Bars.
I'm Gussie J. I've been cosplaying, I guess, since 2002. Well, I did security work for cosplayers for the Fan Expo for years before I actually officially started cosplaying. And I started in 2018 officially and won my first competition, which was cool. As for commercialization of cosplaying, that's that I think that it obviously there's a dynamic shift. Before it wasn't as cool to be a cosplayer. I noticed the shift it's become more popular, but I don't think it's a bad thing that it's become more popular. Has been monetized, sure. I think that it's a good thing.
All right. Okay. All right. Daryl, what you got, man? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Daryl. I'm from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and the first time I cosplay, well, the very first time I know anything about cosplaying was 2011. I happened to be downtown Atlanta, and I just stumbled into a hotel and saw DragCon. I was blown away by it. I'm like, what in the world's going on here? Seeing everybody in costumes, I was just blown away. So the next year, I was like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make my cosplay because everybody cosplay at the time was like really good. So I made my stuff, and so 2012 was the first year that I went to DragonCon again, dressed up as Loki because the first Avengers movie came out, and I just loved it, and been cosplaying ever since. And the thing that I noticed most is that how big it's grown. Like everybody said, how big it's grown. And before, I mean, like everybody's like, some people have it as careers or they do stuff for like movies and they do stuff and they get paid from like, being an influencer and stuff like that. Cause like, when we started, it was just kind of hobby. It was just something like, that nobody knew about. It was just like, oh yeah, you dress up for Halloween or something. And now it's becoming like so big and, people have careers around it and stuff like that. So that's the biggest change I've seen.
All right. Cool. And last but certainly not least, Fiore, how are you today, Cosplay Flower?
Hi, Mo. Hi, everybody. I'm doing good. Excuse me if you hear my dogs in the background. They've been kind of wild on me today. But
Furiosa.
thank you. But I've been doing pretty good. My cosplay journey pretty much started around a solid 20, like towards the latter of 2017, gearing into 2018. And I started with like a basic Jubilee, and then later on I evolved Jubilee to the classic from the cartoon series of the 90s, not necessarily the new one, but anyways, that's not the point. But moving forward, it's become a nice adventure. It's a great learning experience, a nice experience to meet new people. Even though I'll be very transparent, I'm kind of challenged in the term networking. However, there's a certain fluidity when you don't think about that. You're just like, oh my God, I like your cosplay and this, that, and the third. And kind of like that. And yeah, like moving forward to what it is now, it has become, and I agree, there's like a recent video that's kind of been floating around that says it's been clout chasing, and it has in these recent, like, I guess, give or take 3 or 4 years, especially after the pandemic, that it's been like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like, do your thing. If this is your hustle and you're doing something, for the first time, great. I mean, for full time, great. But it just kind of, I don't know. It just sort of like puts a question mark. Is what you're doing really for fun, or are you really, finding yourself in that challenge of, you're, oh yeah, like I'm doing this for the hobby of it and such. But
Yeah.
other than that, hi guys.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, and that's actually what I wanted to touch on. Actually, you guys, everyone touched on something that actually I think is crucial to sort of point out is that there's an old saying, hey, if you love something or if you love actually something that you do, get paid for it or something to that effect.
Get them
Um,
dollars.
that's right.
That's
So, I mean, hey, there is nothing that says anybody, whatever your journey is, that gets you to actually get paid. I mean, by all means, hey, go ahead and actually, make your money. Go ahead and actually be influencer, be cost famous, if you will. But I'm actually more interested in knowing specifically the commercialization of it, in the sense of just like how, companies now have come in and have really sort of pounced on that. Like, like companies that didn't exist before have sort of pounced on, hey, this is actually, this is a lucrative thing. We're seeing a lot of people who buy this stuff. How can we go ahead and get into that? But actually, before you guys get into that question, I did want to introduce one of our panelists that just came in. Hey, Allie, how are you? Oh, she dropped out. Womp womp. I thought she came in. My bad. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. So okay, so going back to my question then. So yeah, so um what is actually, what's your take on that these companies, like let's say Amazon. I don't think there was a time where you can go on Amazon, at least at the earlier part, where you can find a costume, and now
No.
you can find a costume for almost anything.
You know,
Yeah,
uh,
that's true. Cause yeah, cause when we first started, there was really nothing, so we had to make everything and watch like tutorials on YouTube or something about it. But now, since it's so big, all these companies are manufacturing like cosplay stuff for people to just buy and they're making lots of money off of it. Like you said, Amazon and stuff. So. I guess it's good if because like if you're just a beginner cosplayer, you'll just buy stuff to wear, and then like you're more seasoned like us, we find the joy in making our stuff. So I think that's but
and you know
yeah.
what? I don't think it's a bad thing that people can have like an easier entryway into it, because I can't remember who it was in the panel that said it used to be like 10, 15 years ago. It was a much more like niche thing. Now it's kind of cool to cosplay. If anybody's been to DragonCon, you know that DragonCon is like 85, 90% of the people who go there are cosplaying. They're not just there wearing jeans. They're cosplaying. So I think that's
That's true.
cool. I think the danger in it though is that sometimes I think companies can get away with there's no regulation, like when you're in like the first years or something, like you can get away with selling like any cheap piece of cloth, and then you just steal a picture from somebody else, and then it's like boom, you charge $100 for something that should have been no more than 25, $30. So there's
Yeah.
there's a little bit of danger
Yeah.
there. You you almost have to like learn your lesson and say, all right, which of these people can I kind of trust? These pictures don't look like they're very good, or these pictures look exactly like the other vendor that I just saw, like, but their prices are different. Like, what's going on here? So, there's the right now we're in the period where there's like it could be exploited, but you can learn to navigate around it, and hopefully it's not too expensive a lesson to learn. That's I think my take.
I think it's
Well,
great.
I
Like,
was gonna say something. I agree with Jay. Like, when I started cosplay, like, I used to like buy stuff from Halloween stores, because that's what I'm like, thinking like, okay, everybody buys stuff from Halloween stores, but I didn't know that people actually make this stuff. So until like I went on YouTube and I came up to like Kumi Cosplay, and she said what material to use to make costumes. So I live with my boyfriend. My boyfriend, he helps me makes like not make all my cosplay. He like makes some stuff from my cosplays. From the stuff that we learn from. So wherever we learn from, we usually order like on the internet before like they start selling all over like Michaels and Amazon everywhere. Like we had to like hustle to find these things. But but yeah, it just became very big. So
yeah, I think it's good for people who are like either starting out or like younger people who can't really afford to do big builds and spend a lot of money on cosplay. The downside is that these companies, as great as they are, like William said, a lot of them are stealing pictures and not actually selling what they say they're selling, but also they kind of take away from the art and from the people who actually work on their costumes. So now, you go to a con and every Deadpool is the same because you bought it from the same company, and like every Harley Quinn is the same because you bought it from the same company. So that's where I feel like the art of it is lost.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
have
can
a
see
problem
that
with anything.
actually.
That's why I try to. Yeah, that's why I
I'm sorry.
try
I
to
don't.
do characters that's not. Go on.
Oh
I
no,
was just
I'm
saying
just
like
saying
that's why I
I don't
strive.
have a problem with any commercialization of any product because I think it's all good. We should be happy that it's happening because before, like you guys said, you couldn't go to a store, you couldn't go to Michael's and get foam. You had to order it from some kind of third rate website that was going to send it to you in like 4 weeks. Now you could just walk over to Michael's, pick up, or what is it, Joanne's for you guys in the States? Joanne's?
Not
Joanne's,
anymore.
Michael's, Hobby Lobby.
Oh,
Oh, we got
Hobby
Hobby
Michaels.
Lobby.
Lobby is
I
where I
got.
You could
go.
go to Hobby Lobby right now, get your foam, get your
Uh huh.
foam cutter, you get the circle, the one that makes the perfect circle. You can get all that stuff at Hobby Lobby now.
Blackheads. Yeah.
Before you weren't able to do that. Like they're giving you an opportunity. Like I see the commercialization as a good thing because there's companies that are like hiring cosplayers to make costumes or to make outfits for their movies and their productions that they're gonna do. If like for pioneers such as like Evil Ted, Evil Ted's a good example. He used to work on movie sets. He went to YouTube. He popularized foam smithing, which was awesome because if he didn't do those YouTubes, I wouldn't have started foam smithing for sure. Like
Same.
I think that it's all good. Everything about it's good. If it gets too popular, then fine, and sure, whatever. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying that people are coming in, and we're not like people are like, oh, I can cosplay too. Sure, go ahead, buy your outfit. I don't care as long as you're part of it and you want to be part of it and you like it. Go for it. Anyways, that's my piece. Anyway, go. See what you
Now,
have to say.
how do you feel about like people who are just in it just because of the money and not because we're true geeks and nerds and we're in it because we love it, but then there's people who just in it for money,
I
like
was.
those
Yeah.
models who just wear like a sexy cosplay and get all the attention. I mean, how
Daryl,
does that
you
make you feel?
I'm a,
you stole it right from me. I was going to go right
All
there.
right, yeah,
I don't
go ahead.
care. What does that matter to me? What does that matter to me? If somebody wants to make money off of it, that's the end game. Let's put it that way, right? If I were to able, let's put it this way. I have a good job already. Don't worry about that. But like, if I was able to quit my job and do like cosplay with my life and still support my whole family and everything like that, I would do it. That's the end game, right? So if a model finds a way to monetize because people like what she does or what he does, all they doing is showing their abs and being half naked all the time, go for it. If there's a niche for it, utilize it. You, money is money. Everybody needs money. Some
Everybody
people do
needs
it.
money. Yeah.
Everybody needs money.
Yeah,
If you're
I
doing
will
it for the
say.
love, you could do it for the love, but also do it for the money because you love to get money for the things that you love to do. That's how I like. I'm not
You
saying
know
be a
what?
sellout.
I'm not, and I
Mm.
can't disagree with from one J to another. I can't disagree with that. I live in America, but I will say, there is something that happened. Go do your thing, and if you can make money off it, do it. I don't do cosplay. I never do cosplay for money, and a lot of doors have been open to me. I've gotten to do a lot of awesome stuff in my life, but I never ask for money. I never ask to get paid. Some people might say, oh, well, that's silly of you, you should. I've gotten paid, but I've never asked for it. But I will say, if the mentality is, well, I'm doing this because I want to get money and I want to do that stuff, there's a camaraderie that I think, a sense of community that gets lost, because these models they cosplay Harley Quinn, but they don't want to talk about the comics. They don't want to talk about, oh, how do you feel about season 3 of Harley Quinn on HBO Max? They're like, I don't care. I'm getting paid $100 an hour to like sit here and shake my booty or something. And I'm like, if you want to do that, do that. I just lament that there's, a little bit of sense of camaraderie that's lost, because you walk up to someone and you don't know if they're a fan or if they're like riding high on the next on the big thing that
On
just
whatever
happened.
whatever is
You
popular
remember
at that time. Yeah.
I can tell you right now. I can tell you right now. You can't. I don't think that there should be. We're not here to judge. Like, you can't judge that. Like, if somebody's not, you can't. For me, I feel like that's a form of gatekeeping. It's like, are you a true cosplayer? No, 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 no. If they want to cosplay and they do it differently than the way that you traditionally do it, that's fine. There's a place for everybody in this community for me, right? So if the naked models, they can do their cosplay the way they want to do it. The ones that are traditionalists want to do everything by hand, they can do their own thing. If you want to buy that shit, buy that shit. You have the money to buy it, buy it. If somebody comes to you and wants to pay you to do something that involves cosplay that you know how to do, take the money, right? Don't be like, no, I'm too good for that. No, take that money, because one thing that's going to happen, like those companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, whatever. Can I name them on this? I don't know if I get in trouble.
Yes,
Whatever.
you can name them. I don't think actually they care.
Exactly. They don't care. They'll come to you if they could get away with it scot free and say, "Hey, build this," like they did to my friend. Build this Iron Man suit, and he built it. And then they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna pay you $100." You know, he spent like $1,000 to make an Iron Man suit. Over $1,000 to make an Iron Man suit. Get paid, my brother. Get paid. Set your contract.
What if they're used like any other marketing agency to lie? I'll use like a quick example. A lot of influencers were used to market the heck out of the Galaxy Hotel, like that Star Wars hotel thing, and a lot of them were caught lying. Like they were bold-faced lying about what stuff was going to be in that hotel. So, and that's an effect of being commercialized. Like they got paid to advertise, dress up on their various social medias, and do that stuff. Again,
Wait. Whose fault is that though? Like, is the company that's paying them? Is the company? Wouldn't the company be like, hey, say this about this? They're contractually obliged to say the things that they're saying. If the Galaxy Hotel doesn't have those things, and the company told them, hey, say these things, then that's on the company.
Yeah, it's on the company.
I mean, like, I can't. Well, I'm not gonna blame the cosplayer. The cosplayer didn't build it. It's not like he said, I built this. I built this whole entire hotel.
But he said, if you come here, you're going to get this, this, and that weren't there. Only one of those things.
These people give these guys, but he got paid. He got paid to say those things, and those things, if the company didn't fulfill those promises, that's on the company. He was just doing his job at that point, right?
Yeah.
He got a contract. They said, hey, say this script. All right, do it your own way, but say this script. Mention these 3 things. We're gonna have ice cream every day for free. We're gonna give everybody a CD player. I don't know, something and whatever. All those could be lies, but like that's not on him. That's on the company. Now you can trigger yourself to go after the cosplayer, but again, the company told that person to say it. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I can understand. I can understand the both sides of that argument, because there's I get William's perception, sort of understanding of, hey man, sometimes it's about the integrity of it. But Gussie brings up a very good point, which is, hey, if you're given a script and this is what you're told, you're not also given the tour of the hotel to say, hey, this is all of the amenities that are going to be available. You're just hired as an actor to portray that. But you guys brought up a lot of very good points, which were about accessibility to new cosplayers with cosplay being now as big as it is, as just one of those things where actually now it's become popular and become part of the zeitgeist. the so the commercialization can be exploitative to an extent. Obviously, yeah, you can have actually easy cosplay to get somebody in the door. They can be like, hey, the Wolverine movie is coming out, we can go ahead and do it. But then there's the other side of it, which is, and I think all of us are aware of it, especially if we have people who are, I think, Gussie, you brought it up exactly the point. People that we know that are either in the industry or adjacent to the industry. How much those people that are making this stuff are getting paid. And I want to bring up actually something that I want us to talk about, which is basically when companies make a conscientious decision to make changes to, say, for example, a character, in the sense of like their clothing. Like, say, for example, between the two Shazam movies, there was the Shazam costume that he got in the movie, in the first movie, and then a brand new costume in the second movie. There's only two reasons now I see that seems to be what they do that for. First and main reason, which has been this way since the 80s, is for the toys. The more different variations you get, the more toys you get. But now there's also the cosplay element, which is basically now cosplayers are basically tuning in like hawks to see what is this next version going to look like and how do I build it or how do I buy it. And then other companies, and a lot of times companies overseas, are capitalizing on that and being like, we're going to pounce on making sure we're going to make this costume for this 15-second trailer and stuff like that. How do you think that influences sort of the craft, and also like how cosplayers manage their sort of like expectations of it?
Okay, so I'll go first, I guess. Like, money talks, right? It sounds cliche, but money talks, right? The company, the movie director, from the movie standpoint, they know that they're going to get those toys to be made. They also know that cosplayers are going to make that costume. They also know that they can use those cosplayers to promote their movie, and therefore cosplayers will make the costume, right? And whoever makes it first or the best and has a big following, those movie companies are going to contact that user or that cosplayer and ask them to promote that movie for them. So it's a cycle. They know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose. Is there a reason, like, for example, is there a reason that the Falcon, Captain America, is there a reason why he's changing from white to blue? Comic accurate costume is the white costume. They didn't need to change it, but they changed it to blue. Why? Sales. They know somebody's going to make that costume. They know they're going to make a toy of it. They know that somebody's going to have to market it. They know that they're going to get people who want to see why he changed the costume, and it's going to get people in the seats. But I'll let somebody else talk. Sorry.
All right. Louis, what do you think?
I was gonna jump in about that. It's like the Spider-Man movies. Before before the Spider-Man movie, I've been cosplay, like, for example, Spider-Man 2099. I've been doing Spider-Man 2099 way before the movie, until like the movie came out. And Gussie's right. It's like once they show the characters how they look, they gotta make the toys, make the stuff that's based on the movies, and also invite cosplayers, who have to look and who also like make the costumes before the movie. Like one of my friends, he did his Pubito, and he was at the premiere because he made the outfit way before the movie came out, and he got invited to the premiere and all this stuff. So yeah, it's all about the marketing of the kids and the cosplayers.
And who's not going to jump an opportunity to get paid for doing something you love, even if it's a little bit? Like, if somebody is like, yeah, I'm going to, let you see the movie before everyone else if you dress up or whatever. Like, who's not going to jump on that?
True.
Yeah. Well, I was actually more speaking from the perspective of like actually the impact to the cosplayer itself, for those actually who are in it for the craft of it. Like, how does that change the dynamic of you as a cosplayer when these changes do take place and stuff?
You know, well, I don't think it, at least personally, I don't think it has any impact on me at all.
Hmm.
First of all, I don't really think that costume designers in Hollywood like really put a crazy amount of thought into like what the cosplayer is going to think. Like one or two, maybe that they spend more time in San Diego Comic Con, it might cross their mind, but I think they really just do it like these are really like artistic people that want to put their stamp on something, and sometimes, like you said, sometimes they change things for toys purposes and commercialization if it's something like a superhero movies or whatever. But I think sometimes you just change something because you want to put your own personal stamp on it. And I think cosplayers will jump on the challenge no matter what the change is, especially if they try to make it complicated. The community now, because the base is there and it's so much more accessible, it opens up more people to like now, for example, now that we have calculators, we can do so much more with mathematics, whereas before we just move sticks. Now like people can do so much more. Foam crafting has gone so up there, like all these things are crazy. Like I'll give you an example. Like when the new Star Trek show started coming up, they put bloody deltas all over the
Yep.
magnetic deltas
Yep.
all over the side of
Yep.
the panel. And I remember looking at that and being angry for a moment, being like, God, it went from my yellow shirt to this thing. And within
That
like
is
6 months, like someone had figured out a crease cut and they found the pattern and they started selling it. And I was like, go figure, they weren't the right size, but
That's
who
what I'm.
cares?
That is exactly what I'm talking about because I think actually to some extent, and you touched exactly. That is exactly the quintessential example I have is that Star Trek is exactly those little chevrons. Is that whenever some new suit comes out, you have actually cosplayers that it basically, sort of stumble over themselves to make sure that they're the first ones as the first version of that, and to me there's a bit of a level of toxicity with that because it is
No.
very much a like something that was mentioned at the very beginning of this, a competitiveness. It's like I've got to be first, I've got to be first, I've got to be the first
Mhm.
person that has this, so I'm gonna this 2 second trailer that came out that showed half of a shoulder of somebody, I'm gonna go ahead and actually dissect that and make sure I could try to go ahead and make that costume. So I am interested in hearing like that impact to the community and how that affects us.
And I'll just speak for another 2 or 3 seconds, and I won't monopolize everything else. But I will say,
No, no,
like,
you're
I
good.
know exactly what you're talking about. Like when they started announcing the latest show, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. There's a company on eBay right now that's making bank selling Star Trek costumes left and right, and there was just a trailer of what the new uniforms are going to look, and they jumped at it. They took that and they extrapolated what they thought it was going to look like. They started selling them like hotcakes, and I saw like every single Star Trek influencer in social media wanted to have that so they could start making content. When the first episode came out, they thought the deltas went down to here. They went down the whole sleeve. So every single one of those that they bought was now more or less useless, right?
Yeah.
And I guess basically, like, I guess that's I think that's on the cosplayer for not knowing any better to wait. Like, I don't blame the company for extrapolating and trying to make money and jump on. It's the whole supply and demand thing. They knew there was going to be a demand, so they met supply the best they could. I think it's up to the consumer to do their research and be like, well, we haven't seen a whole picture, so how do they know what it's going to look like if we don't know? And I'll let somebody else talk now.
I actually have a
No, that's
great
perfect.
example of that. When Birds of Prey came out, there were pictures of them, but they had a very blue tinge to them. So all of the companies that were making these things and jumping on them took Huntress, and the pants were blue, the top was blue. When the movie came out, it was black. But
Yeah.
because of that lighting, they had taken that picture and gone with that. So it was actually one that I had purchased beforehand because we are going to do a group just before everything shut down. And the one that I received was blue and it was useless because that's not what it looked like.
Valid.
Did you feel disappointed that I mean obviously there is obviously disappointment with that, but did you feel sort of a weird did you feel some
Resentment?
resentment? Yes, I guess is the
Yeah.
best way actually to put
Not
it. Yeah, do you
really.
feel resentment against yourself or against the company?
Not really. They,
Okay.
I know they tried to jump on it and I tried to jump on wearing it because we wanted to do our group and it was wrong. You know what? I went out, I bought the right color pants and other things you can dye, you can fix it. Like, there's not
Okay.
always that instance where you can fix it, but like, it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cosplay Flower. I haven't heard from you, so Want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I would say based on my observation, it is like, now that it's kind of like becoming a little bit more mainstream and everything else, it's very much clout chasing, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like if this is your way of making money, hey, make it, right. I'm not the one to stop you. Me personally, I'm the type of person that I want to separate hobby from money. Like I don't want to feel pressured that, oh, I have a deadline that I need to
Yeah.
make this costume, or like I have a deadline that I need to present. And like I want to do that for an actual job. Like that makes me a little, I don't know why, it just like makes me feel a little bit more reasonable that I want this to be a hobby. I want this to be fun. I want this to be me have control over the time I'm going to do it. That if I have a convention coming up soon and I didn't get to finish the cosplay, yeah, I'll be slightly disappointed. But I'm like, it's not that deep. You want to have fun with it. So there were certain, like X, Y, and Z's that didn't allow you to finish, and that's okay. As opposed to, like if you have a con coming up or some sort of premiere. Like I did want to say, money follows trend. And that goes with like PR and everything else. So if anything pops up, I've seen it in the socials where it's like barely a trailer came out, and like either a half hour later or maybe a day later, everybody and their mom has like a piece of whatever is they're gonna wear. And then I'm like, well, I guess this is the trend, and like for everybody else. So basically, I'm mixed. Like for me personally, I wouldn't do it. I don't necessarily agree with everybody else like monetizing crazily about it. But, once again, if this at the end of the day is your bread and how you make your money, let me be the last person to have any opinion whatsoever. Because at the end of the day, it's like I said, I don't pay your bills, you don't pay my bills, and it's okay. Like, we have
And
different ways of transpiring with this, I guess niche.
yeah. And just to be clear, I don't think anybody here is judging anybody. I think at the very onset, everybody said, "Hey, man, if you do you, whatever
Mm,
actually works out for you." So there's no judgment on that end. This
yeah.
is actually a conversation about what this hobby, let's call it what it is,
Mhm,
hobby has morphed into, and how it's
mhm,
morphed into actually there are commercial aspects of it, and actually how that in turn has sort of sort of transformed actually the in a cyclical nature how we do things and how we perceive creating content and creating costumes and stuff like that, and
yeah.
picking the route of creating versus just, hey, I'm saying, hey, I'm just going to buy it. And again, there's no judgment. It's whatever way is your journey. I did actually have a
Mhm,
couple of questions actually for the panel. If you guys are ready for some questions,
yeah.
the first one we have is actually, should you cosplay characters? And I guess this is more general, like not just you, but anybody. Should you cosplay characters you're knowledgeable of or about? And what about the looks? You think actually that's essential to
You know what?
cosplaying?
I-
I'm
I'll
backwards
go.
with
I'll
that.
go first. I'll go first on this one because I have a very clear answer to it. You should cosplay whatever you want, whether or not you know about it or not. Go for it.
Mhm,
The worst what can happen is if you run into a fan that's really knowledgeable about the
Yeah.
character, you could get asked about it and you might have just, maybe a little bit of egg on your face and say, "Oops, sorry. I just thought this character looked awesome." And you know what? If the other person is a generous and understanding person, and you say, you know what? That's cool because I love this character, and if you who don't like it are spreading it, that means that my character who I love may grow to more mainstream audience. So go for it. Don't
mhm,
criticize them if they don't know what they're talking about. Don't gatekeep. Like, let them enjoy the fact that the looks. There's a reason that these are visual mediums, and cosplay is visual. So let them
mhm.
enjoy it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm backwards with that. Usually, sometimes I'll get suggested a character to cosplay that I have like no idea about, but I kind of look at it and I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of nice. But then I'll cosplay it, and then later on, I'll do some investigation about said character. Like one prime example is America Chavez. An old acquaintance suggested, like, oh, you could totally portray this character. And I'm like, who's that? And then later on, I kind of started cosplaying her, and I started doing a little bit more research on the character, her story, and this, that, and the third. And I did the
Puerto
same thing
Rico.
for, I did the same. It's not my background, but I did really like the
Boricua.
character and what she stands for. Um, but I did the same thing for the Punisher, and also like I really like the whole anti-hero type the little bit I knew was based on the Netflix series, but then I
Yeah.
dove deeper into the character itself, what he stood for, how it started, and this, that, and the third. And then it's kind of like, so I agree with William. Like, whatever, like cosplay, if you like the look and you wanted to get into it, do it. Like, nobody's going to stop you. Unfortunately, you will come across one or two, three people that might, give you like a side eye of like, oh, but you don't know the character and you're dressing like one. Like, who cares? I mean, once again, I stand by the statement, and I know it sounds funny. You don't pay my bills and I don't pay yours. So let me be and do whatever I want.
What you eat don't make me
That is very eloquent. Very, very right on the nose. Daryl, Daryl, any thoughts on that? Any anything that
Well,
on that specific topic?
like most of my cosplays, like I make like I make out of scratch and stuff like that, and so there's a lot of work that I put into it. So I don't want to put that much work into a character that I don't know anything about, unless it's for a group and they ask me to do something, then I'll do some research on that character and I'll see what they're about. But most of the characters I just cosplay that I want to cosplay that I like that I know a lot about. So because if you're just buying something and just wearing it, that's something different. But if you're making it, it's like what drives you to make it and make it look good is your passion for that character and to make it look good. Because if you really like the character, you want to bring that character to justice. And if you're out there looking like half-ass or something, it's just like you're not really doing it. You're not really cosplaying, as you should. I don't think.
I think even with
So.
that, there's an aspect like where you could still have the passion for building something that you don't actually know about the character. It just looks
Mhm.
really amazing and you want to wear it. So I think it can still sort of go to that, and you can still enjoy the process of building it, even if you don't really know that much about the character, or if you're not passionate about the character.
I have actually, so I'm of two minds when it comes to that, because there's a part of me that agrees a little bit with Daryl. I'm a firm believer in whatever makes you happy. Your happiness journey is not being driven by anybody else. No one else is in the driver's seat of that journey. You're in the driver's seat of that journey. Nobody else gets to side. Nobody else gets to sit next to you and navigate. That's your journey. That being said, actually, one of the things actually I love the aesthetic of comic book aesthetic, and actually like helping put together photo shoots and stuff like that. Like at Dragon Con, actually I've organized a couple of photo shoots. And one of the things actually that is a pet peeve, it's a personal pet peeve of mine, is when someone dresses as a character and doesn't know what to do with themselves. And I would say, for the experience, you get what you get out, you get what you want out of it. Like if you are dressing up to the point that other people have made, where they're like, "Hey, I'm dressing up as this character because I just think it looks cool," that's great. If you are dressing up because you're trying to say, "I want to go ahead and dress up as this character because it looks cool, but I want to get some cool pictures as well," you'll have to know that actually that when someone is taking pictures of you and they have a camera and they're like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" They're expecting that you are going to have some basic knowledge of that character to know how to position and pose yourself and stuff like that, to do it. And so for me personally, just knowing basic stuff about the characters is I think pretty essential. I think, and might help your experience even better. And I say that, like, for let's give a really broad example. If you're dressed up as Superman, you're not crouched down doing a sort of like Spider-Man pose. That's not Superman. It's not actually part of who his makeup is. So you want to at least have some kind of tertiary kind of like knowledge of the character to know if that's what you're looking for. Now, if you're just walking around a con and you don't care about pictures, you're just sort of like, "Hey, I'm just dressed up as a character," cool, then that's fine. But if you're doing it and you're wanting to have that, you want to have more of the experience of the exposure of also being in pictures and stuff like that, the expectation of someone person behind the camera is going to be, what are you doing? How do you like go ahead and actually position and put yourself in the way that you want that character to look? Because the last thing you want is you want to have the experience of getting that picture back and then thinking to yourself, oh man, I didn't know what to do. I took a picture like this. I didn't know what to do with my hands, and that's what how I feel about it. But when it comes to cosplay in general, I mean, enjoy it. It is a hobby. I will tell you, like I told Gussie earlier, we are not curing cancer, man. We are not. So do the thing,
It's
have
just
fun, and
cosplay,
that's what
bro.
you should.
It's just
I
Yeah,
was
it's just
gonna
cosplay.
cosplay,
say,
bro.
Bunch of
I was gonna
friends.
say this. I was gonna say this. You pay what you get for, you know. And
Yeah.
the thing is that you know either you know the character, you don't, you pay for it. And another thing is, even you put it away, you're only gonna wear it for once, and you're gonna like throw it out. Like that's the thing. We cannot judge anybody, but at the same time, I'm with you, Dom. It's like I'm also the type of person like when organizing photo shoots or in a group. Like if you're a type of cosplayer that doesn't know that character and you're in my group, I'm gonna say something I said like, "Why are you here for?" Like
But is that
don't.
fair? Is that fair though? Like if you choose somebody to be in your group, like for example, for me being one of only what 5 to 10. Wait, actually, I think it's only like 7 black cosplayers in the Toronto cosplay scene. I get told to be part of groups where I'm just the black guy, basically,
Well,
and I don't.
there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack there. That's not. This is not the top. This is
It's
not the podcast for this one.
Whole other
it just
podcast.
Hey,
depends. It just depends on the person. The thing is the person is like
yeah, like who?
he or she is like. I mean, you could look great in the cosplay no matter what. It's like like Dom said, like if photographer want to take pictures of you and then you just standing there like, okay, I don't know what to do. Then
Yeah.
Yeah, but
maybe
because
then
let's say for example,
as you
let's
as
say
a
for example,
cosplayer, but as a you for a cosplayer, if you want your picture taken, if you don't know what to do, say just say no. That way you don't look like a fool. Instead of
mhm.
just get your picture taken and then just say, you know what, I'm just gonna post for that, and then you see yourself all over internet and say, oh my god, I should have took that picture.
That was a point. Thank you very much, because that's exactly the point I was trying to make. Is that you get what you put into the experience. So if you actually do that, you might find yourself later on being like, "Ah, crap, man, I really like I could have." And granted, that could be easily remedied. Tomorrow's a new day, and you might actually now been educated by that experience, but
And
having
but
that first experience
you know what,
happen,
Mo?
yeah.
You know what? I wonder if because we've all been around the block a little bit. Maybe I wonder if your experience and the way you think about it is because you have been around the block and you have gone past that level. Because to me, I think that's just part of the experience. Like you don't
Yeah,
like my
that's fair.
family, for example. When I go back home and we're doing family pictures or whatever, everybody's like, "Give the camera to Guillermo, give it to William, because he can find angles. He'll like frame us properly." And they're like, "How do you know this stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, because I've gone through this. Like
Oh
I've
my.
worked
Uh,
photographers for the last 10 years. I now know." What I want to do. I make sure I take
Stop,
two or three to make
stop,
sure
stop,
there's.
trauma, stop giving me flashbacks. Stop,
I know. So to me, it's not like you want to avoid it or you want to be like, oh my god, no, don't do that. Don't do a photo shoot where you don't know how to pose. To me, that's part of the journey. That's how you learn.
Yeah, but
no, and
sometimes family we say, oh, I don't like that picture. Can you do it again? Can you do it again? And then we have to do it again over and over again, and
That's where
it
you
gets
do
no.
some give and take. Obviously, you do some give and take.
yeah,
You're not gonna do the same picture 25 times. Obviously, like
true.
yeah. But
No,
I
and
think
that's
Okay,
that's just
actually
part
so
of the journey. Yeah.
yeah, you bring up a very
so
good point, because you're right. I think actually now at this point, I might be thinking with my today sort of perception of the world versus when I first started, kind of thing. And you're right, actually. I do I try to, as best I can, whenever I do encounter new cosplayers and stuff like that, to sort of actually try to sort of help them navigate through the sort of the entirety of the experience as best I can, not take away from what their journey is, but sort of like, hey, this is sort of the things maybe you want to try, and stuff like that. So I'm never opposed um, to trying to help out as best I can with it. But to your point, yeah, it's maybe I'm looking at it from a perception of where I am right now versus if you asked me like 10 years ago, it might be I might have a different opinion on it.
I gotta say, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm still awkward as fuck in photo shoots. It doesn't matter if I know the character or not. I'm
I
I
always
do not
never know
believe.
what to do with my hands. Like, what do you do with your hands? Like,
yeah, right.
I disagree with the both
Point
of
him.
you. I think you guys are fabulous. I don't care what anybody says. Fight me. Fight me.
Hands in the air, wave
Soon.
around like you just don't care.
That's right.
Who cares?
So actually, I do have
So,
actually another question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, Gussie, go ahead. Go ahead.
so I have a question. Like, I kind of have a question. So, with the commercialization of cosplaying, for example, right? Like what you guys are saying. So, should there be a motion for protecting images of cosplayers who are being stolen, like say from uh, let's put AliExpress up there that steals people's pictures and say we made this costume, but it really wasn't them. Should there be some kind of protection laws?
I
Because
wish there was.
really,
I wish there were
cosplaying
too.
is the copyright is cosplay is kind of like copyright infringement in a way, but like there's nothing
But
there
it's
to
your
protect.
creation. You created it, and to have somebody
Yeah.
steal it and to steal your pictures in order to
yeah,
sell something that's not actually what they
There was
made.
an
Like
there was
that's
an
deceptive.
well, I don't remember the cosplayer's name. Oh my goodness, if I did. But she just made a mermaid dress or something like that, and it was found online. They made a they sold it for like $300, whereas she spent like $700 to make it or something like that. She made it by hand. I just saw it recently, and I was just like, oh, that would hurt me if I saw something that my own creation that I made took the time to do, and somebody just came and just said we could do it and we'll do it cheaper and we'll sell it.
My daughter's friend, that happened to her. It was
Dom thought you could stop. He thought he could stop. You can't stop. You won't stop. Can't stop. You gotta stay on. You can't just mute us. Huh?
rude.
what happened to
You can't
Mo?
just mute.
Oh, there
There
he
he
is.
And the
is.
show actually,
Mo didn't
he
realize he
actually
was.
said,
Mo
He's a
said no.
Mo thought
I
he
was.
was he could go sneak a snack in, and that's what he did. He
That's what
tried
it
to
was.
mute.
You got me. You got me. Actually,
He
I was
thought.
real quick to just be like, actually, let me go ahead and grab some chips real quick, and then I'll come back and be like, oh man, technical difficulties. Oh
Dang!
no.
Not sure what
Oh
the crap
I was
no.
like, what
Womp
happened?
womp. Womp
I thought it was
womp.
my system actually.
As I was saying,
Yes.
it was a 15-year-old kid, and she made this beautiful mask. I think it was from anime. I can't even tell you, but I know she was my daughter's friend. She spent so much time on it, and next thing, all of her pictures are up on Temu, and they're selling this mask supposedly and claiming that it's theirs and claiming her pictures. Even like the entire image of her they had up on Temu, trying to sell this as theirs. So
Yeah.
I do feel like there should be some kind of protection for that. Or like at some point you're gonna have to like put watermarks on your pictures, or
Yeah.
That's a very interesting thing because I do like, obviously there's a lot of laws when it comes to like image transfers and stuff like that. Like the photographer, like when you get a professional picture, the photographer owns the picture. Like even if it's of you, they own the picture. And so from there on, actually, when you get into those parts of the law, that's when it can get actually a little bit dicey. But actually, I will bring up something that actually I've been bringing up. I keep bringing it up, and I don't know why, but I'm just so tickled and entertained by this. Is the fact that the copyright, copyrights are only for so long. So I mean, hey, just give it 80 years. Superman is about to be free and clear for anybody to use in a couple
Apparently.
of years, so you can use it. You can go ahead and actually, eventually your own image will be released, and they won't, and somebody else won't own it. So yeah, we could go with that.
Chris Shinobi, Mo said that Disney got you, so you better keep your mouth
I
quiet.
would. It's not the second. It's not the first time actually Disney has come after me. They have actually. It is
I,
quite funny.
Mo
They
I've
just
they
been
said he
banned
has
from
a
all the
target on
premieres,
his
so
back.
Yeah, Disney doesn't like what I have to say. I got some hot takes. Um,
Ooh.
so going back on
Wow.
topic to the commercialization. So I find there is actually an interesting piece about what happens when the sort of opposite happens. It's sort of it died down a lot, but there was a period of time where people who did princess parties and stuff like that would get cease and desist for cosplaying as characters actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And and
Wow.
and and actually, and if you go into actually like I don't know if this was a product of a cease and desist, but I get the sinking suspicion it was. There was a time where you can go on Etsy and you can find Batman cowls as far as the eye can see from different manufacturers, and then they just dried out. And it was a we and from what I remember hearing about it from the people who were making these molds and stuff like that, they were given cease and desist letters, by Warner Brothers. So
Wow.
how is that actually? So let's talk a little bit about that. When the companies, the big companies, come after the little guys and they say, "Hey, you can't use this stuff."
The IP belongs to the big companies. I hated to say it. Even us cosplaying, they could tell us to cease and desist. We're
I
just not
agree
making money. We're,
fully,
we're just not making money off of it. If we are making
100%.
money off, if we're making money off of it, then yeah, they could tell us to cease and desist. Like
Yeah, like people
now,
selling it. You know, what I mean, they can tell them cease and desist. That's
yeah,
what
it
you
doesn't
were
matter
saying.
how you could sell $1, they could tell you to stop. It doesn't matter as long as
Yeah, like I
you
hate to like side with big companies, but as someone who was actually putting together a Batman costume, when that whole hail of storms of cease and desist came down on like a bunch of cowl vendors, like I wasn't angry or anything. I was like, you took the risk making your business selling somebody else's IP.
Mhm.
Like
yeah,
same thing with the princess parties. Like people were taking a risk and hoping they didn't care. I grew up in Puerto Rico. It's funny because you're not gonna get a lot of cease and desist, so you will get so many off-brand Supermans going to my birthday party back in the day.
Yeah. When I
Like
lived
I
in
would
Peru, it's the same
those
thing.
are my
exactly like
favorite.
on the side of the food trucks, you would get like Batman pizza, and like Superman hot. Like you got that all the
They don't
time.
know
Like they
you're
were all over the
terrible
place.
looking
So,
costumes.
but at any point in time, should a WB executive be taking a vacation in Puerto Rico and spot that, they can do whatever. Sure. Do you want to like ruin somebody's little food truck where that's their livelihood? No. But since we're talking about cosplay, don't you're taking a risk if you're making your business, your livelihood, selling as someone else's dressing as someone else's IP and interpreting the character without their permission.
Right?
That's true, but I would actually, the one thing I would sort of counter to that, and this is the reason, this is why I think they stopped, in the sense of like Disney stopped. Disney stopped trying to chase after people. Like the cowl thing sort of still seems to be lingering a little bit, but the Princess Party thing, I haven't seen. Of people that I know that own Princess Party companies, I haven't seen too many that they've told them to stop, and it's because, at least the feeling I get is, it's free advertising. Any way you slice it,
Hmm.
if you go ahead and actually, as someone who has done princess parties as a princess, I have 100% worn the gown. I looked absolutely stunning. But
We need
um,
pictures of this.
as
We've all
someone,
been there.
as
We've
I
all
as
gotta know
been
your
there.
makeup
you know what
routine,
I'm saying,
Mo.
I've
We've
done,
all been there.
I've done, I did actually,
Cosplay
but no,
Flower.
it actually, all joking aside, I did actually, when Black Panther was at the top level of hotness, and I had a Black Panther cosplay. I got those calls saying, "Hey man, you want to do a birthday party?" And I was just like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go,"
do it.
Yeah,
and
get
you
that
would do
money.
it.
Get that
150 an
money.
hour.
Like day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Set
150 an hour. Let's go. That's
well,
it.
prime,
right.
That's it.
prime example is that around the thing I did the Japan parade, and I had done parades. I would wear my cosplay and it's fine, but the Japan parade it was different because I was gonna wear my Charizard Ranger suit, because it's anime and everybody loves anime in Japan. We love the culture, and also Power Rangers, Super Sentai, the Japanese, bring back the culture, showing the world in a one way. Until a friend of mine was telling me, hey, we cannot cosplay because of copyright laws in Japan. I'm like, okay, that sucks, but but I get it. It's their property. It's their stuff. They don't wanna get sued. So, I mean, I don't know if it was televised because I saw on YouTube that it was on ABC, but I don't know if it was televised or not. But I get it. They gotta protect their property and stuff. So
Yeah, well, because you don't want like you've seen on like Instagram and everything. You've seen a Spider-Man that wasn't as good a good Spider-Man try to do a backflip and bust his head,
Oh,
ruin a kid's party, right? Like
uh-huh.
they don't want that. They don't want that, right? Or let's say like dancing provocatively like the Deadpool at a Spanish party. You've seen the video. You've seen the video,
I've seen the
right?
Yeah,
international videos. Yes,
yeah.
Yeah,
they're usually overseas.
right. So like the cease and desist, I know that like for example, Disney has recognized, Marvel has recognized that good all publicity is good publicity, except for when it's like bad publicity, right?
Bad. When they're
Like
embarrassing
really,
him, like,
really,
yeah.
yeah, really, really bad. They'll put a cease and desist. But like if somebody's doing something like volunteering at a hospital and they didn't ask for permission from Marvel to do it, Marvel doesn't care. They'll be like, all right, cool. That's what's up. Disney said, all right, that's cool. They have their Disney businesses go to the hospital and do like volunteer work. They're okay
That's
with that. But don't make $2 million off of them and not give them a cut because they'll come for you. Make two
that's
Mm-hmm.
dollars and they'll come for you. Out of
that's
that
that
two
that
dollars, make don't give them the one or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, or give them their shout out. And I think actually, especially, I think they recognize that cosplayers are influential because again, when there's movie premieres,
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
do reach out to
Mhm.
cosplayers to be like, hey, it's with any of the
Bring
obviously
your
it's more
skin
with the
color.
Marvel DC movies more so than any other genre. It's
Mm.
hey, let's go ahead and actually call a couple of cosplayers. We can go ahead and actually for the optics, let's go ahead and actually put them on the red
The red
carpet right
carpet.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look at the
So
Deadpool
it is,
Wolverine premiere. How
yeah,
many
yeah,
cosplayers
you
were
know, exactly.
there?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That is 100% true. So this is actually so in us talking about this commercialization and how it's exploded and how again cosplay is in the men is out there in the universe in the form of you will have people in popular culture make a joke at somebody else's expense being like blah 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 like cosplay whatever like you're playing cosplay cop or whatever the case is and you'll hear that as an expression how there's obviously the positive of being acknowledged as hey this is part of my fandom um but how do you guys feel about sometimes the negative connotations that comes with that kind of exposure and how people perceive or how you think people will perceive are people's perceptions are of the cosplay culture and what we represent.
I'm too old to care what people think.
Yeah,
Fair.
I
That's
mean,
that's
like
fair.
I try to do like that, but if you if you cosplay a character like that's not your race, and you go in the comments of like a Instagram or TikTok, where it's like all these like just ignorant people, some of the comments are the most hateful stuff you ever read. You know what I mean? If you're like a black person cosplaying like a white character or something, or
Mm.
if you're like a big guy like me cosplaying like a small character, you get so much hate comments. It's really toxic. I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
I try my best to ignore it, but
Yeah, but
it's
those
just
like
it's a lot.
it's funny because everybody's a flipping comedian when it comes to when it comes to commenting on people's projects, right? They're all
Yeah,
comedians because then when you hit them back with the like if you hit them back like you comment back at them and they're just a joke. Like when I cosplay Tony Stark, somebody called me Anthony Dark, like Tony
wow,
Dark, right? And it's
wow,
like
yeah,
exactly. And you have to be like, yo, what's your problem? It's like, oh, it's just a joke, but it's not really a joke. You're trying to be
Yeah.
funny,
yeah.
and you're
These
Yeah.
being
keyboard
overly
like
racist.
these keyboard bullies, like they hide behind the
Yeah.
Yeah,
keyboard,
exactly.
and
and plus,
it's
you
just
could set off your comments to privacy too, so you could keep
Nah,
the
I don't
whatever.
do that. We fight. We fight. You want the smoke? You
I'm
bring the
just
smoke.
saying. I'm just
I'm
saying.
bring
If
the
you don't want
fire.
I'm just saying if you don't want to read, if you don't want to read it, but
No, no,
yeah,
no,
like,
no, 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 no.
but I just don't engage. I'm just like, I'm really low key. I'm like, you get too old, and it's like we hear people argue each other. They say about this, they say about that. I'm like, okay, I'm just continuing what I'm doing, having fun.
You can't escape
Nah,
it, so you may as well just ignore it.
Yeah,
nah.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
engage
true.
that. We make them feel stupid. You want to be a comedian? I can be a comedian the same way.
I'm
We
I
just
mean,
can
at
go
the
trying
end
to
of
read
the
bar
it.
to
day,
bar.
it's like whoever's making those sad comments, it's like a projecting of a projection of themselves because they're evidently not satisfied with something that they don't see, and whatever they see on the wrong in you, it's what they just want to lash out, their way of lashing out. I'm not saying it's a valid thing. It's definitely not. Of course, I know I have come across the board that, knock on wood, I haven't come across people leaving me unnecessary comments, but naturally, I have the option in my case that I can block that person, I can delete the comment, or just simply ignore it. And I know it doesn't come across the same for many people because sometimes it does affect them, but it's like, you're not living with them, so you want to come and find your solace. Like, what is your solace? That you enjoy this costume, you enjoy having fun, remember the beautiful memories you've built with like the new people you met, the people that you come across again and again when you go to your cons. And it's like, if that those nice happy if like 5 happy memories can stomp that one comment, then quite honestly, you're not doing too bad. And always reach out to a friend if you still feel like you're overwhelmed. Like that's what friends are for, right? Have your little buddy system that can protect you too.
I love all that flowery stuff you're saying. It's really nice and everything like that. But for me,
Gussie just wants to fight. I would say actually the one thing actually I
I
would
mean,
say
Gus
to
is a pistol. I'm not saying he's
yeah,
not,
no, he
but
is,
I'm
he
just
is.
saying.
I
I grew up
I
in a hard
feel when it
family, so
yeah. So when it comes to negative comments and stuff like that, my feeling is there's two things. There's two school of thoughts with me. First school of thought is actually it's somebody has a lot of toxic sludge in their cup and it's overflowing so much that the only way they can sort of level out is by pouring it into somebody else's stuff. That's what I feel like it is. It's like somebody saying, I have too much of it, I've got to go ahead and I'll pour it. And then the second train of thought that I usually have with it is if you are actually there's only so much energy you can expel in your lifetime. There's energy to eat, there's energy to walk, there's energy to talk, there's energy to work, there's energy to have sex. There's a lot of energy that you have. You're actually, yes, I knew you would love that. Yes. Um, the fact that you are spending even a fraction of that energy to address me tells me right there that I mean, what are we doing? You want to go ahead and actually come and talk to me or talk about me and actually put it into words and actually take the time to type. You're expelling energy towards something when I don't even know who you are.
I
Who
don't
are
even know
you?
who you.
Heavy on that.
Who are you? Okay, you want to talk about whatever? Cool, great. Bro,
Just send them the
thanks.
Thanos meme. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't
I,
even know
I,
who you are.
I,
I'll just
the,
say,
the,
I'll
I
just say,
like
I don't
that.
speak English. I just speak another
That's right.
language.
Or you could do or the Thanos meme, or you could do actually the Bison thing, which is basically like to you, me coming into your feed was the greatest day you ever lived. To me, it was just a Tuesday. You know?
I adore that movie, Raul Julia para siempre. I love that movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Of
Gone
course
too
you
soon still. Um, but yeah, so I mean that's the way that's the way I treat it when it comes to negativity like that, man. I have too many people that I love that are in my circle of friends and family and stuff like that. I don't got time to spend energy on you, man. I got barely enough energy for myself. Why am I gonna spend it on you, man? Why?
No, we need to spend the energy on the good things.
Like I said, like the thing that Gussie
Yeah.
liked, that was one of the things right there. That's one of the things. That's
This is
sometimes
not about me,
sometimes
okay?
it's yeah,
I
sometimes it's not.
behaved. I kept quiet. I'd like
Gus,
everyone
sometimes
to know
when
that.
I'm with you at Dragon Con, I feel like I need a 20-foot pole next to you to kind of keep you 20 feet away from me.
What happens at Dragon Con
Whoa!
stays at
How is
Dragon
this
Con.
devolving into a
Heck
Dragon
no.
Con discussion? Oh man! See,
What happened?
Louis, we got to figure out a way for you to come down, man.
Oh
For
yeah,
you to come down
yeah.
to it. I'm telling you.
One day, I definitely will.
I'm telling you, man. You will have a good time. You will have now you have all of these people now that you've met. You'll have a good time. Don't you worry about it. We'll make sure of that.
Yeah, I definitely want to go. I mean, I have been to Georgia anyways. I went to Ranger Stop in Atlanta.
That's right. I saw that you came down. I forgot to go over there. I wanted to actually we haven't met face to face, and I was just like I saw a picture afterwards. And I'm like, this son of a. He was down here.
I did say I was going. I said I was going. I said I'm going to Ranger Stop.
You did.
So
that's on me.
But yeah, definitely want to go. So.
All right. So I do want to wrap up actually because I don't want to monopolize everybody's Friday evening. So I want to end this podcast with you amazing folks, and I want to just take a moment to say, hey, where can we find you guys? Where can we find your artistry, your amazing faces? Like we will start actually with Daryl and then work our way in the opposite direction. Where can we find you? What are you working on? What are your projects that you're working on that you want to share? Share it with us right now.
Well, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Daracel. I'll be at Dragon Con. Dragon Con is my favorite con. It's the first con I've ever been to, and I've been going for for 12 years now. I've been going, and it's the funnest time. So I'm just now, Dragon Con is it's like the Super Bowl cosplay. So I always work on you bring all the A game cosplays. I work year round to bring them to Dragon Con. So yeah, if you're at Dragon Con, you see me, say hi. You know what I mean, and hopefully I have all my cosplays done because I think I'm planning to bring like seven. So it's a lot.
Me too.
Can I say something about Daryl real quick? Actually, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't know if you posted it on TikTok and Instagram or one. There was a video that was going around a little while ago, and it was I think you filmed it at either MomoCon of last year or AWA, of the girl from The Ring.
That was from ATL Comic-Con.
Yeah, and that video blew all the way up.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that was. So if you saw that video, that was him. That's his video.
Yeah, I recorded, but then I learned a lot about licensing video because people would steal it and post it without giving you any type of credit, and so I had to license the video and stuff like that, but it was.
Daryl, you're getting credit right now. I'm giving you the credit right now.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Cosplay Flower. What are you working on? What can we find you? Where can we stalk you?
You can find me very, very actively on Instagram. I do have a Facebook, but much like my other social medias, it's collecting dust. So just find me on Instagram. I do post in my stories some progress in my cosplays every so often because life happens and I'm sort of more focused in life than I am so much in social media. But you'll definitely find a lot of crap story posting. But just in general, much like Daryl, I don't know how, but I think I am gonna maybe out of the 7, probably 4 of the cosplays are just quick things. Like this one, this is a onesie that I'm gonna take on Wednesday. There's a onesie party.
For the Wednesday.
All right, there we go.
Party,
so there's a onesie party coming on Wednesday that I had no idea about. I'm a little bit stung by it. I've been going to Dragon Con for these past 3 Wednesdays, maybe 4 Wednesdays. Sometimes. Anyway,
Day zero is a new thing now. It's a new thing.
Yeah.
Day zero.
It started. Day zero is picking up.
Day zero is now technically Tuesday. Technically, Wednesday should be the new unofficial day 1.
That's true.
Right,
That is
right.
Wednesday's the new. That's correct. Wednesday's the new official day 1. Day 0 is Tuesday now.
But now it's I have these other cosplays. I'm bringing back my classic Jubilee, so that's one. This is another. I have a Gengar. I have what other one? I think there's like one more that I'm gonna bring in, two more that I'm building. So, this, that, and the third. But yeah, you'll find me on Instagram, and let's have fun.
Yeah, that's right. Go follow Cosplay Flower.
Yeah, if you see like you see
Loki,
my, I don't know where my name is. Oh, sorry, just look. My name is here, right? Like I don't know how the thing goes. I've always wanted to do the whole pointing thing, like
I'm gonna
you're like,
say this if
like,
everybody sees the way I see it, that this is your name right here.
so yeah, that's my name on Instagram. Like, subscribe, and notification. I just wanted to say that.
Exactly. Yes. Loki, where can we find your amazing little self?
All of this flattery. I'm on Instagram. It's Loki Goddess of Mischief. One word, two S's for mischief. If you go into my links, you can find my spicy site. And don't bother with TikTok because I can't do that.
Same. Same.
I am going to Dragon Con. I'm bringing a couple of costumes, two Lokis because Loki Goddess of Mischief, and I'm doing probably the Bunny Hutch because I made a costume for that. I'm doing Domino because somebody has a Wolverine that I want to take pictures with.
I don't know who this person is.
And I don't know what else I'm bringing.
Bring
I'm
yourself.
bringing a onesie.
Bring
Myself.
yourself. Yes, that's the most important. That's the most important piece of this costume.
Bring myself.
Exactly.
All right, William J. What you got to say?
Oh man. If you want to, oh god, if you want to follow me on Instagram at William_J87. I have a Facebook, but don't bother. I just post memes on there, so it's not really a big deal.
You might attract William. You might attract more people because you said that. Because there is a meme culture, so you might.
I know, but it's
people.
like I'm weird. I don't want to grow too big. I like my circle. I don't want my circle getting huge. The other thing is, I've been a part of like upcoming Star Trek fan film. I'd like to tell people about because I'm really proud of it. A lot of really cool people worked on it. Just follow Chaotica Studios with a K on YouTube. You'll be able to find them. They also put out a Batman fan film I was in. So that's my work on. Oh my god, I can hear myself in somebody else's thing. It's weird. And then I'm going to DragonCon. I don't know what I'm bringing. I know I'm bringing Austin Powers. I know I'm bringing. What else am I bringing?
I have a fembot.
I will be Austin Powers on Thursday because Thursday's like my big day. Now that the underwear party is no longer a thing on Thursdays, I had to figure out something else to do. So Austin Powers is my thing.
Wait, hold on. Go back. There was an underwear party?
There was.
Yeah. Yes, there was at the Pulse Bar.
Yep.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
I'm there every Thursday. What do you mean?
Not anymore. It hasn't happened in like 3 years now. Right before the pandemic. Like I think 2019, 2020 was the last one or something. I don't know. And God, yeah, like you can.
I just called out the Bunny Hutch Cup.
They still have. Yeah, that's right.
Bunny
I do
Hutch
Austin
is
Powers.
different.
I do Austin Powers because I get to hang out with all the bunnies. That's basically it.
Nice.
That helps.
And I'm doing
that one.
and then one of the new Jokers from Folia Du, or however you pronounce that. I'm bringing that. But those are like the only new outfits. Everything else is just a repeat. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There you go.
And yes, if you get a chance, actually, where can we find that Batman fan flick? It is freaking amazing. It's very atmospheric. You look dope as hell, man. So where can we find that?
Thank you. I've been told I have small Keaton energy, which is awesome because he was my height, 5'10". If you go to on YouTube, if you go on YouTube, there's Chaotica Studios with a K. They are the ones who basically did the whole production. I was just an actor on it, so please go take a look. It's only 20 minutes long, and I'm kind of proud of it too.
Yes.
Just an actor.
Really
Just
cool
an
stuff.
actor.
All right, Gussie J.
The one and only.
The
as
one
my
and
daughter
only.
says.
Mr. Gussie J
God, I
himself.
hope so.
Mr. Dragon God himself.
Oh, get out. Get out of here.
Anyways,
first.
yeah, so I am currently working on an Iron Man costume for, I think we're doing something for Sick Kids and Fan Expo in the next 2 weeks. You can find me on social media as the same name, Gussie J, because I have nothing else to hide. You can find me anywhere, any social media platform, same name. I don't have a cosplay name. This is just who I am because you need to know who I am.
Right.
The cosplays I'm bringing to Dragon Con though is up for debate. I probably do Black Noir, M'Baku again, Red Hood. Um, what's the other guy's name? Shoot, I don't even know. There's one of them. Blue Beetle,
Blue Beetle.
and yeah, I might bring him. And then that's about it. That should be it. Oh, what do you call it? A ninja and a bunny. I'm gonna be a ninja bunny, if that makes sense,
Oh,
Oh my god.
that
for the
tracks. That
bunny
makes
hutch.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be broke though. I'm gonna be broke. So Mo, I might need you to like spot me a couple $100 because
Couple of hundred. Hold on.
yeah.
I'll start
Oh,
looking. Let's see.
also go to the top of the Pulse Bar, second level. We'll be there with Shinobi, Swaggy,
Yes.
all the guys.
Yes.
We're gonna
What
be running the
day?
party every single day.
Yeah, they'll be there. You could
Okay.
catch them probably every day.
Okay, this
They'll
is
be
gonna
up
be
Every
this
there
my
day.
every night.
birthday. You guys
Pennies in the
buying me
pond.
drinks?
After 1 a.m., we take over the Pulse Bar second level.
Oh, you're
Okay?
talking about that. I misunderstood
Yeah,
something different. And I'm like, okay, yeah, everybody's there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Be there. Okay, we'll have music playing. We have
Like
an
a little
arrangement.
mezzanine. Like a little
Indeed.
Yeah, a little
mezzanine.
Indeed.
mezzanine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Indeed.
that's it for me.
I'm learning
That's
all the
it.
All right.
secrets.
And Latin Nerd Cosplay, where can we find you? What are you working on?
Well, you can find me all over my social media, Latino Cosplay, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and my next con is Ranger Station, which that's in Philly. It's a prime music convention. One of my friends owns that convention. I go there every year. So I'm going there. That's in September. And then October is New York Comic Con. I'm working on Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider.
Oh, nice.
I've been eyeing him for years. So I'm gonna start working him that, and then and that weekend I'm wearing my Charles Ranger, my Puerto Rican Ranger, and my Cyber Spider-Man.
Oh,
Nice.
Cyber Spider Man. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the Puerto Rican Ranger is
Yeah, by the way, Louis, I
top
love your
top
Puerto
tier.
Rican Ranger. It's
Thank
It
you.
fantastic.
is top tier. It is just
Mhm.
so freaking
My
amazing.
family who knows nothing about cosplay ran into that on Instagram and they're like, "Did you see this? Did you see this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I saw it. Thank you guys."
He's a
That
funny.
along with the Mandalorian,
He-
the Boricua Mandalorian as well.
Yeah, she's
Yes.
awesome.
oh,
Yeah,
Puerto Rico. She's awesome. Yeah.
she's a good friend of mine, and me and her we've been doing a lot of like the Puerto Rican parades and community stuff, and she wanted to do the Halloween parade, so we are gonna do that together. So, but she's gonna be in Comic Con, and we actually doing a group. I think on a Saturday, like a Puerto Rican group thing. So I gotta hear the updates about that. So
Cool. Cool.
yeah,
Well,
Nice.
I will say actually thank you guys so much for being a part of this. This was a really fun conversation. I think we did it. We did it, guys. We fixed whatever was broken.
Nailed it.
We did it. We actually like it's world peace. You go open your window right now. World peace has just been accomplished. We did it. God tier. You know. For those of you who I will see at Dragon Con this year, I'm just gonna let you know this is happening. Don't fight it. This is happening. It's a
No,
hug.
I love your bear hugs. Like I feel like I'm
Yes,
2 feet next to you. Like I'm 2 feet tall when I'm next to
it's
you.
happening.
But I
It's
love the
it's
bear hugs because you do this. I ask you to do this, and it's like, yay! I get a bear hug.
But
I give
I get a 20-foot pole. But when I
Yeah, no,
come to
you
hug
get
you,
it. You
it's
get
a
a
20.
20-foot pole, Gus.
I
I
got you,
get a
man.
20-foot pole.
Gussie. I got you, man. I got you.
Hey,
Bring it in.
Gussie gives some
Bring it
nice
in.
hugs too, man.
Yes. But everybody gets free hugs. But thank you guys again for joining. Thank you to Cosplay Alliance for letting me actually run this topic today. This was a ton of fun. It usually is a ton of fun anyway, and I can't wait to see all of you guys in future cons and all of the stuff you guys work on. Please, if you guys are watching, for those of you on the audience, check out these amazing artists. They are all just amazing just at what they do. And I am always in awe of, of creatives that create, that they do the thing actually, and they make just magic every single day. So have a fantastic Friday evening, everybody. And I will see you guys again soon. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
If you're watching this episode on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out other episodes of the Cosplay Alliance podcast. The Cosplay Alliance podcast is also available in audio format on all major podcast